So then we have concerted cultivation and teaching opportunities. And we're talking about spending time with our children.
You know, let's name a few other activities that we think. I'm going to call this the top 10 list. Fishing is on the top of that list. Playing catch is another one. Building a wagon with your child. Camping is another good one. Building model rockets is another good one. Working on cars. Something that my uncle, you know, sometimes it's not always your dad that show you those things, but whoever does expose you to it is where the knowledge comes from. Then I was able to take that to my father and say, Dad, Theo showed me this. You know what I mean? What do you know about it? So road trips are always fun. Going to the barbers with your dad is always fun. And doing service is one of the top for me too. Being able to give back and understand that there's people in need and there's people that's always going to be in need that you need to be there for to help. As a community, as a family.
Another thing that I've done with my boys, which is something that I never cared about, was fishing. But my oldest boy said, Papi, why don't we go fishing? And of course I had to say yes. This was my opportunity to shine. It was a teaching opportunity. It was an everything opportunity. So I found some fishing poles and started fishing. And I actually enjoyed it, you know, and it worked out really great because they're so happy.
It's a great experience fishing. It's, for us older folks, we know it's a patient game. It's not about throwing and catching right away. It's about throwing and waiting, and that leaves space for conversation and interaction. And there's little things that need to be done, that need to be put on the hook, and how do you tie the knot on the hook. So all of those are teaching opportunities at that point. And there's some days that you might go and not catch a fish, and that's part of sometimes you don't win. You don't win all the time. Teaching them something.
That's a good one.
But when you do catch a fish, that enjoyment, have that camera ready because it's a moment to catch. You know, kids love to learn and to be able to share that with somebody they trust. And the only way they're going to really trust you is through spending time together and through activities.
The fishing story is actually very interesting because we ended up going in the backyard to dig up worms. And if you know anything about boys, we love getting our hands dirty. And playing with worms is fascinating when you're 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, right? So we spent an hour digging up these worms, which was really cool because we haven't gone anywhere and we're talking, we're having fun. They're getting their hands dirty, which is something I absolutely believe in. Getting dirty, I think, is fantastic. I remember getting dirty when I was a child, and it was the best ever. I was in heaven when I was dirty. So I'm doing that with my kids. It's great. They're getting dirty with me. We're together. So then we do that. And then we finally go fishing. So I show them. I still do all the. I put the worm on the hook. Okay, but the other thing I did was I removed the barb from the hook so that we could release the fish. Right. So that's another cool thing, you know. So we caught some fish and we released them. And as I'm removing the hook from the fish from the hook, you know, we're not damaging the fish's mouth, you know, and it's going back. And we're talking about, speaking of learning opportunities, the difference between a fish and, say, maybe a turtle and how they breathe differently. So, you know, so I'm like, well, you know, here's the gills, and they extract the oxygen from the water, and that's how they breathe underwater. But if you take a turtle and you put it underwater for too long, it'll drown because it's got lungs just like us.
Wow, that's you know, that's important for them to be able to get that from Dad. Not only from the teacher, you know, those learning experiences need to come through activities with Pops. And then that's why teachers come to you at the end of the year and say, you know what, your child said this and this and that. I was very impressed. And that don't just happen. You know, that comes with time and you spending time with your child on a constant basis. Not just being there. Being there is important. I'm not going to say the presence is not important. It is very important. But activities, being engaged with your child on a constant basis is so important. It's crucial. It's an obligation that we have as fathers to find that time for them. You know, relationships are built on communication and time that you spend together and what you give back and forth. So through activities is how we can express. You don't have to say a word, Most of the things through activities are visual. How well you draw, how well you kick, how well you hit the ball, how much you fish, how you're listening. So this is how kids learn, and this is how we learn. Because I learned through my child and how he behaves and how he acts and his emotions. Because a kid's emotions is different than an adult's emotion. So through activity is where you pick that up and you keep yourself humble because you see that child, that's yours.
Yeah.
How he expressing himself emotionally.